time to wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up.
First and foremost, good morning everyone, and we're very happy to be here today on behalf of the EIT community, but also together with our esteemed partners and startups that we supported to tackle the topic of innovation, technology and sustainability. First and foremost, to kick off, what is the European Institute of Innovation and Technology and what do we do? Our mission is to enhance innovation capacities and the competitiveness of the technology landscape in Europe. We do that in 3 pillars via business creation, education and innovation. Therefore, in order to tackle our topic for today, I would like to open the floor and decrypt what does sustainability actually mean and how is it defined in the context of innovation. The common ambition of those 2 terms is progress. But therefore, I would like to give the mic to Mathias at this point and tell us how do you envision sustainability and why does it matter in the innovation context?
Yeah, okay.
It's not working?
Okay,
Yes.
you can hear me? Okay. So I think that innovation and sustainability have to be locked in at the same time, because when we are talking about innovation, everybody sees what can innovation do for us and what's the outcome of innovation. When we will bind this to sustainability, and that's our goal here, then innovation and sustainability goes the same way. That means that ecological and economical terms will be on the same stage and have the same goal, which makes it easier for everybody to be sustainable because he's also innovative, or the vice versa. That's one of my phrases. We call this twin transformation. So that we are doing innovation and sustainability at the same point, for instance, digitization and sustainability at the same time, so that everybody has a double effect and will gain more impact on his own work.
Thank you, Matthias. Christian, EIT manufacturing, how do you define and also envision the term sustainability? Why does it matter for the organization and also in the global context of what the EIT does in general?
So, I mean, as a representative of EIT Manufacturing, we of course work together with a lot of customers from the manufacturing side, the big ones, Volkswagen, a lot of smaller companies that are in our network, and they all, I mean, have this production plants, and they consume a lot of energy and CO2, and all of them are a source of CO2. So they work constantly already for some years to reduce, find first of all the potentials and the needs, and then start reducing them. And as community, we are bringing several actors together. All the EIT communities do. We bring the companies, we bring the startups, we bring the research actors, and we bring the money. So that means those 4 ingredients offer us as ecosystems the opportunity to bring and match the right partners and then drive innovation forward and also support those that need money, and that we're talking mainly about the startups in being able to work with the big corporates. So it's about context, it's about engagement, and it's also about providing the financial resources that they are able to implement the innovation in the production. And that, of course, applies in a similar way to all the other communities, from raw material, health, food, to mobility. Yeah.
Talking about ingredients reminds one of planting a seed and then having the output of a plant, which needs water as well. Where we have somebody from Hansgrohe here today. So I would like to ask Steffen, how does Hansgrohe, and also in your mission, what you do on a daily basis, tackle sustainability and define it in your daily business operations?
Yeah, it's interesting because Mathias, he's doing sustainability and innovation, and our CEO has the same idea, so we want to combine both fields. So on the one hand, we innovate for sustainability, and on the other hand, it's like sustainability is an innovation search field, so it's like playing soccer. We have a defense team, so we try to decrease the harm of the planet, but we need this as an offense team as well. And we see really sustainability. I believe in green growth. There is people who say that's impossible, but I think with Hansgrohe we showed the last 5 years that we can decouple economic growth versus the resource consumption. So we grew by 29% the last 5 years, and we decreased carbon emission by 26%. And we really try to find out that sustainability is much more than just regulation, doing less harm. So I really think this could be a European USP when we talk about innovation leadership.
Amazing. So not only theory, but really tangible practice and output. Malek, Redeem Solar Technologies. Would you like to share a bit about your company, what you guys are doing, and how does it fit into the context that we are discussing today together?
Definitely. So we are a chemical company. This is what Redeem Solar Technology is. And when you think of the chemical industry, it's actually one of the industries that have been historically regarded as not being very sustainable. It consumed a lot of the resources, a lot of the raw materials. It's not a very old industry. It existed for the last, let's say, 200 years on a scale. But during this period, it managed to cause a lot of damage. Yeah. And for us as Redeem Solar Technologies, what we're trying to do here is that we're trying to do sustainable production of chemicals, which is not very easy. Yeah? Before sustainability becomes very prominent, there was the concept of lean manufacturing. Yeah? And the idea there was to reduce the waste so that you can maximize the profit. And it was actually very useful for being sustainable at the same time. It just people did not realize it. Now we come to this industry and we try to see every step in the supply chain of the chemical industry from the point of view of sustainability. How do we make this sustainable? So our goal here is to pretty much make materials and energy accessible and sustainable with the resources that are renewable and accessible to pretty much everywhere in the world. Yeah. So that's a mission of us. Being local, being sustainable when it comes to the chemical production.
Thank you. When speaking about that, perhaps as a follow-up for you, Malek, would you like to share what brings you to the panel, especially in the context of the EIT community?
Sure. So, because we are in chemical manufacturing, and this is not a very standard startup, we really needed the help from EIT community in terms of to help us with networking, to help us with establishing channels for sales, for scale-up, partnerships that we needed, and even talking to customers and or potential customers and get their feedback on what exactly their problems are, how they see this, and how we can fit in into making their production better. This was very important. And you know, like this event, for example, is a great help for us. We got to talk to great people and we understand better about the market now. We're looking forward to making this more materialized in terms of working with EIT community. We're hoping to get them actually on board as an investor in our company as well, because we need to scale up. So this is all in progress at the moment. Yeah.
Thank you. After having completed the definition and also heard about the different visions of our panelists, we decided to open up the floor to a more critical concept of exploring how do success stories look like in the context of innovation, technology and sustainability, but also what kind of challenges have been faced and what is necessary to do towards the future. I will start with Steffen here, and please go ahead and share with us.
Yeah, when we talk about innovation, it's about taking risks, and we always see here nice solutions, but some of them will probably fail as well. And I think we have to be brave. And with Hansgrohe, it was 20 years ago. I want to share one story where the son of our founder, normally we're doing showers and faucets, and we are really lacking water. A lot of people don't know, but still in Germany, we're lacking a lot of water. We have a water crisis. And 20 years ago, we already developed a kind of grey water recycling system. So collecting all of the water of the shower, treating it, recycling it, using it the second time for toilet flushing, gardening, which makes a lot of sense. It's just common sense of doing it. But if externalities are not in the economic system, like the water price is too cheap, society doesn't know about water crisis, and maybe regulatory issues are there, then it's really difficult to innovate for sustainability. So when you really do, we call it the planet-centered innovation approach, you have to do it like a systematic approach. And you need politics, government, society, academia, and companies and startup working together. So we stopped that endeavor. It was called Pontos because the time was not right. But we tried again a second time, now collaborating with a startup. And we hope now that time is ready to scale it, because at the end of the day, we need the dynamics of the capitalistic system to scale it. Without this dynamics, it's really impossible.
Thank you. Christian, when we speak about collaboration and bringing together stakeholders from different angles, how does the EIT community serve towards that? What are the visions, but also what are the challenges that are faced in those operations?
Maybe adding to what Steffen said, I mean, I think we play a pivotal role in there, because we bring this ecosystem together in different domains. So, and with that ecosystem, we can openly discuss, okay, what are the needs, but we also, what are the challenges, but also what are the opportunities. And I think having this dialogue is, I think, even more important in today's world, where you have a lot of information flying around from social media, and everything is changing quite dynamically. I think with that, the communities in the first step bring the right people together to talk to each other and see what are opportunities, what are challenges. And I think you're right, nothing is easy. If it would be easy, it would have been solved already. So I think this is what we are dealing with. And when I look into manufacturing, so I call it always the challenge we see in the companies is, everything before the manufacturing process costs a lot of effort, cost, and so on. And then during the manufacturing process, you create value for the corporate, and then you sell it to the customer. So that means they even more sometimes hesitant to change some things. But I think this is what we as an EIT community are also dealing with on a daily basis. Bringing those solutions to the customers, explaining together with the solution providers what are the opportunities, and then also supporting with money to de-risk this investment. I think this is a topic that also should not be forgotten, and you mentioned that. There is an economic dimension, and we support that, and by that we are de-risking this investment and helping the companies also to try things out and learn from it, and then and then implement it step by step in the production process. And this is a very unique, I think, approach in the European landscape, and that also applies to all the EIT communities, not only to manufacturing.
You mentioned the economic dimension. Together with the economic dimension, we also need the behavioral and the human dimension. Matthias is very well known to, let's say, decode and de-tackle human dynamics and how they relate to our capacities of absorbing what the future brings. How do you envision that? What do people need? Do we need a shift of mindset? Do we need a shift of structure? What are the, let's say, modus operandi for success in the future?
Okay. I will answer, let's say, a little bit from the behind. When I will ask the auditorium here that I have invented a machine who sucks a ton of carbon per month out of the atmosphere, will rebuild itself and is reproducible, what would you say?
You can answer.
And mostly the people say, what's the cost of it? And that's the problem. When I will go to a financial officer in a company or an enterprise, and I will bring you $50 per day for free. He will say, yeah. So money makes the world go round. So the mindset shift, which should happen, especially in the enterprises, is very simple. Sustainability is not only ecological, it's also economical. That's the mind shift we have to do. And so we are working, and me especially, are working in this mindset shift with a CFO, not with a CTO and not with a CIO, but with the CFO. So that when he puts in some other resources into his production plant, which are organic, that he's able to recycle. So this is a more systematic approach. And I do like the team sport, play field, defense, offense thing. You have to integrate all the people and not talking about can we do this, what's the price. You have to be very, very systematic, and you have to think of a carbon price. That means not only efficiency, performance and cost of material, but also cost for critical infrastructure, which is the land mass itself. And if you will have this in one price, and you will reduce one of these terms, which can also be sustainability, then you lower the price for the product. And that you can read in dollars, euros, or whatever your currency is. And that's the problem we do have, and we have to tackle here. It's not a game, it's a game for professionals which are in the finance district as well.
Thank you. Playing the ball back to Malek and Steffen, from a startup perspective, how does the strategy look like? How do you, let's say, incentivize and construct this mindset to really achieve your goal? And then from a corporate perspective, in comparison, what's the difference between that? I would first let Malek start and then hand over to Steffen.
Sure. So, I mean, as you probably know, I mean, normally startups start with a strategy, and it's on the startup to go out and validate the strategy. And this is by talking to the right people and listening. Listening is very important to refine and revise the strategy. And it's mostly talking to potential customers, stakeholders, people in the community. And listening is very important. It's also very important for a startup to explain clearly what they do so that people can give them an honest and true feedback so that they can refine the strategy about how they're going to go about this. For people operating in sustainability, there might be some, I think as we mentioned earlier, education. Yeah. And as you probably know, I mean, startup is, very engaging activity, and there's probably not that much time left for founders to do that, but it's very essential. And if they ignore that part or if they overlook it, it will not be good in drafting the strategy. Yeah. But for us, I mean, in a nutshell, our strategy is customer focused. And I think this is important for pretty much any startup to succeed. They need to be customer focused.
Just as one follow-up question, then I will give you the floor. Would you share a story with us where you faced a challenge to exactly perform this strategy, and how did you deal with it and mitigate, or perhaps even reverse it?
Sure. So, for example, I mean, our founders, including myself, we're all like deep technical people. And our initial strategy was focused on the technology development, product development. And when it became time to go to market, we struggled a lot with market entry. And that was a big challenge. How do we take the product to the market? And we realized that we spend a lot of time on developing the product without learning enough from the potential customers. So we went back and we revised the strategy. We started to apply something called the split experiments, which basically putting these potential customers in group, change something in the message that you go to the customers with, and see how the outcome will become every time you change something. I mean, there's a book that describes this called The Lean Startup. I recommend it to everyone. And the learning lessons from this, yeah, you probably know it. You're smiling, yeah. This is very important in terms of like revising the strategy, and pretty much helping us with rewriting the strategy for go-to-market.
Customer-centric circularity. I believe Steffen has a lot to say about that.
Yes, and I love to disagree with you.
Amazing.
Because I think this lean startup,
You're allowed to.
lean startup, user centricity, customer centricity brought us into this mess. And the last 20 years, and we worked like this as well. So we imported this Silicon Valley style user centricity stuff. And I think we are running out, at least in the global north, of real user problems. And we started to design user problems that we can solve them to make some business. So the idea right now, it's not totally go around, but just to start with the planet. So the planet doesn't have any voice in the innovation process, and the people are too loud. That's why I really want the startups, corporations to start solve real problems. And there are at least 17 problems, the whole world agrees, the 17 SDGs. And if you solve a planetary problem, of course, which resonates with customers, then the corporations will only follow the products and the concepts which are really profitable. And then you have truly sustainable solutions. When we only focus on customer centricity, then we do just what people want. And at the end of the day, it's not like greenwashing, but we try to make them sustainable. And this is sometimes a little bit of a farce. So I really want the community to think about planet-centered innovation and go the next step beyond the lean startup movement.
So just one thing. So we speak about what people want and what
Der
the planet.
Flugverkehr, wie wir ihn heute
All good. We speak about what people want and what the planet wants. Who do we put first?
So this is exactly what I wanted to say about the education component that you cannot overlook. Because when you go and talk to people, it's not like you go and like, what's on your wish list and you just make it to them. You need to educate them. Because you're absolutely right. Planet does not talk. Planet does not have a voice in this customer. This is where customer-focused process. This is where you need to do the educational thing. And if you cannot lobby for like, kind of planet-friendly or environmental-friendly solution, we cannot force it on people simply, yeah? So we need to get people on board, and this requires education. And it requires also putting an incentive. So in addition to people, understanding, believing that this is important for us, we need to put something in it for them as well. Then they are on your side, then they will buy your product, and they will become more than just customers. They will actually become advocates for your solution. This is how we see it. Because at the end, someone will need to pay for what we do, yeah? So that's basically our approach, at least.
Maybe I could add to that. I think this is exactly, you mentioned education, you mentioned training. I think with the EIT community model, we have something that is already fitting into it, because we talked now about a lot of innovation, creating a business, but the third unit of all the communities is education and training. And education and training means, in that case, training people in, of course, new technologies, how to use it, but also dealing a lot with circularity aspects. We have colleagues from our Girls Go Circular initiative there that are providing training since 3 years for circularity, especially towards women, but not only. And we have trained 40,000 people in only 3 years. I think this is quite an achievement, also creates impact in the future. So I think as the EIT community, we are working already on that, and I think we could even strengthen this engagement between innovation and education and training, because that would help also others to understand, and also maybe we could create a course for CFOs to understand how it works.
Yeah, not only the CFO, but I want to stress a little bit more your planet-centric thing. I do think we all know what a critical infrastructure is, finance, electricity, water. Why not? The planet is a critical infrastructure as well. He is. If you will lose contact to this critical infrastructure, you would not even have fossils. So everything will stand still. Water is a critical infrastructure. Even in Germany, we dry out. So I think to put the planet in the middle of all our suggestions and all our efforts will handle the price as well as the performance for every product we will produce. We have to change this dramatically. It's not 5 to 12, it's later. And so I do like this planet centricity, because with the only cost and performance thing, we design new problems, and to solve these new problems is more and more costful, and that's the problem. If we will have an endless resource, if we will have endless water, then we can produce whatever we want to do for every people on the world. We have so many people having no clean water. And we are talking about drying out Germany. So we do have a problem. And so we have to define the planet Earth as critical infrastructure and give him a voice. And that's another kind of business we have to raise. Not to stop the other one, but to raise this as well, as, let's say, as a well-balanced planet going around the sun.
So circling back, we have one part of, let's say, customer centrism, and then we have planet centrism. 3 against 1. Malek, what do you have to say?
Oh, I mean, I don't want to be misunderstood here. I'm just saying that planet centrism is important. You just have to embed it into the customer behavior. It's not one against the other. I mean, planet is definitely, kind of a rare component, as you mentioned. But planet does not buy products. Planet does not write checks. That's a problem today. And if we are really serious about helping the planet, then we need to get people on board to believe in the same mission. And this is where the education component comes in. And I'm very thankful to the EIT community for doing this. Because, as I mentioned, for startups, our resources are limited. We cannot do that. But you do this on behalf of all the startups and on behalf of the planet as well, to educate people, especially these potential customers and consumers, about the importance of this. But also keep in mind that when we talk about planet, it's not only Europe. I mean, we can maybe, kind of raise awareness in Europe, make all the citizens or the majority of them believe in that. But even in Europe, even if we're all on the same mission, that's still not enough to solve these sustainability issues. It's our world, it's a global issue. CO2, water pollution, all these things, it's global. So you really need to know how to convince people to do that. Yeah. And these are the users, the consumers. Yep, that's my answer.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you're right. Customers are paying the check, but we have to innovate within planetary boundaries. And I think you talked about education, and we have to educate ourselves as well. There is not supply and demand like Adam Smith in 1780. So we have an economic ceiling and a social foundation. And when we are within this donut, it's okay to use the dynamics of capitalistic systems, but I think there's a lot of externalities which are not integrated in the system yet. The price of water, the price of social impact, the price of air pollution, and that's not the customer who's paying it. I think therefore we need government, we need politics. I think to leave it totally to supply and demand, we have some issues in the system, and if we get the system fixed, maybe it's the euros, and then we have to convert all of it's not only carbon emissions, we need a lot of more. But it's complicated to get it in there. And at the end of the day, we have to make sure, if we only save the planet, it doesn't help humanity. So at the end of the day, we are giving the planet a voice that humanity can survive. And I think there we can agree at the end of the day, we're doing it for the people and not just for the planet.
So, because we are unfortunately running out of time, I briefly would give once again to Christian and then to Matthias the word, and then we do a little wrap-up of our vivid discussion today.
So, we heard a lot of things. From my point of view, I think the difficulty is to combine both. Having this visionary approach, going beyond what we have today. On the other hand, we are in the today, and we need to bring both together. So we, as an organization, as a community, continue to work with corporates that may not have this idea implemented yet. So that means we will take it on the daily basis. On the other hand, of course, it's our effort also to go beyond, and I think that's what we as communities can achieve. And I also invite you to join our booth later on, since we don't have time now to discuss more. And with that, I leave it to Matthias.
Yeah, famous last words. I think we should think over a so-called environmental profit and loss. Full stop. If everybody understands what this is, then you have an environmental profit, loss, and price. And then you know what is your impact on the planet, what is your impact on the product, what is your impact when you're doing things, eating stuff, something else. An environmental profit and loss means how many things are coming out of the environment and how many things I am giving back. And if this is in balance, we do have a chance. And this environmental profit and loss, you can maybe count in euros, in dollars, in every currency you used to know. That's what we have to do.
So wrapping up and concluding, we need to focus on the planet for the people. In that sense, thank you so much for being with us here today and for the vivid discussion, all of the critical inputs. And I will give the floor back. Thank you.
It's time to wake up.